To go. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Today, we are talking affiliate ops secrets from the inside. So, just to start out, I want to do a couple of things. I'm going to have the panelists all introduce themselves. But while we're doing that, I'd also love to have everybody who's watching introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about why you're here today. Are you on the retailer side? Are you on the affiliate management side? Are you publisher, network? And maybe some of the things that you're hoping to get out of this conversation. I'm Tricia Meyer. I'm the Executive Director of the Performance Marketing Association. And although I sit in on a lot of these types of webinars and calls, I don't do any affiliate management at all and haven't at all for the entire 20 years that I've been in the industry. So I'm going to be completely relying on the panelists today for all of their terrific insights. Let's start with your council chair, Nikki.
Hi, I'm Nikki Yorgiadis. I am the Publisher Recruitment Council Chair for the PMA here. In terms of my work, I am the Director of Publisher Development at Gen3 Marketing. So on my side currently, I used to be account management, but now for quite a few years, I'm solely focused on developing publisher partnerships, relationships, optimizations, etc. But really excited to be here again.
And Teresa.
Hi, I'm Teresa Grammatke. I lead up the affiliate marketing and performance PR teams at eAccountable. We're a full service digital marketing agency, and I'm also happy to be here again.
And Vanessa.
Hey, I'm Vanessa Isaacson. I am the Director of Account Development at AvantLink, which is an affiliate network. I've been with AvantLink this is my 10th year, and proud to say that AvantLink is celebrating its 20th year anniversary this year. So all good things.
Very exciting. So how this particular webinar came about, one of my very favorite things as executive director of the PMA is that I get to sit in on every single council every month. And I will tell you, to be a fly on the wall of all of these council meetings, like you feel like you're the smartest person in affiliate marketing because you're learning from all of the smartest people in affiliate marketing, everything about what they do every single month. And so we often talk about how within these council calls, there's so much that you can learn as part of just the general conversation, not anything that's scripted, not anything that, is specific that we're trying to do educational, a white paper or something like that, but just in the conversations that we have. And we kind of got this idea of like, wait, we have these really great conversations about things. What if we just let people listen in on a kind of a typical meeting of what we would have with some of these council participants, and those who are watching can also kind of weigh in with your tips and your kind of tips of the trade while you're watching us as we're sharing secrets. So one of the things that happens in these council calls is that there's a lot of sharing and a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily expect because these people are all competitors within the councils. They all work at different companies. But part of kind of in the spirit of sharing is that everybody does give a little bit in order to get back from other people. So the stuff that they're going to be sharing today, a lot of it are things that we've talked about in these council meetings that are kind of behind the scenes, secret stuff that you don't necessarily put out there for the world. So while we are giving our opinions, I say we, not we, like mouse in my pocket, them, because I don't really have any good opinions on any of this. While they are all teaching you all kinds of great stuff and giving opinions, I know you at home who are watching or at work who are watching, you also have ideas about these things too. So we would love for you to drop them into the comments, whether you agree, whether you disagree, whether you have other ideas or different options when they're talking about particular companies or things that they outsource or tools that they use and things like that. Feel free to drop those into the comments on LinkedIn, because we want to have this be as well-rounded a conversation as possible. So we're going to hit a lot of different topics. Let's just start with subnetworks, because there's been so much conversation about subnetworks. We have a lot of subnetworks in the PMA. What are some of the biggest opportunities to start with that you see in working with subnetworks right now?
I will kick. Yeah, I'll kick this one off. I think to start, I think that with subnetworks, there's a handful that we in the industry would deem to be the ones that we probably work the closest with and have the most established relationships. And with that, comes a lot of transparency within them, being able to optimize within them, and that you have access to a lot of mass media publications, certain sources that you might otherwise have a harder time working directly in your program. And that's where these subnetworks can really bridge the gap and be able to be your one source, your one-stop shop, basically, in a nutshell. So we see a lot of great opportunities when it comes to working with these partners and building that strong relationship to be like, look, I'm really focused on this specific type of partner or publisher type I don't want to work with the other partner types that are in your network. How can we work to optimize this specific grouping? And then you can get really, granular and strategic within them. So there's a lot of positives when it comes to being able to have that one source to work within your program.
Great. And to add to that, I think another thing that we have found is a positive of working with these is it does add an extra layer of compliance. They, to be part of the subnetworks who take it very seriously, they also will be helping to police the publishers who are in there to make sure that they are following the rules, whether that might be, only allowing content sites to work with the partner, no coupon sites, or it could be if you are working with a strong influencer network and you're doing gifting campaigns and like they can help to make sure that those influencers are following through on what was promised in the gifting. Because if they aren't, there is that, like they have that risk of being kicked out of the network, which they, it's work to get into the good ones in particular. And so it is a safer way of doing gifting rather than working just directly with the influencer. So that's something that we always say to our clients is something to consider and is a big benefit of in particular, the influencer networks who work in the sub network.
That's a good point, Teresa. And Nikki, I think you said something, I'll elaborate, where I really see it as an opportunity from the network perspective for brands of all sizes to be seen and partner with bigger media publications, especially content-focused sites that these brands may not have had the opportunity to connect with. And I say this because, in the past couple of years, we are noticing a bigger influx of top media partners joining sub networks. So we're seeing brands coming to AvantLink and wanting to set up an affiliate account, interested in affiliate after they've had a conversation with a certain media partner. So now these media partners are kind of requesting or maybe even preferring that these partnerships happen through a sub network. And that's just kind of a different animal, I think. It's a recent phenomena. And I love this because it does give brands, a much better chance of getting exposing their products to a larger audience. And in fact, I would say that some brands are joining networks specifically to have access to sub networks and these bigger content players. So it's really big opportunities that sub affiliates bring to the table.
And we're talking
Yeah,
about
I
a
think
lot of different types of sub networks too, right?
Yes, exactly. So that's what I was going to touch on is, we mostly in a general term refer to subnetworks, and there's specific subnetworks that are under that umbrella, but there's also a whole other section, which what we kind of classify as the influencer networks, which are essentially almost like subnetworks as well. Because if you take the general idea of what a subnetwork is, it is a partner that houses a lot of other affiliate partners within them, and they consolidate their links, their affiliate links, and they act as a one-stop shop. They're almost like another intermediary. So when we think of subnetworks, we almost forget, but influencer networks are also part of that. And there are some extremely, well-established influencer networks in our industry as well that, most brands want to be a part of because they want to have access to that inventory of, top-notch influencers, content creators, and being able to work with them through these influencer networks. And again, kind of what Teresa said, there are gifting campaigns, there are campaigns that they can work with on even flat fee budgets to expand to really have access to, let's say, not taking a sub network with content side of things, but as an influencer network or influencer sub network, the capabilities to really grow that part of your program is something that is, unparalleled when it comes to other partners because that's their sole focus. So it really kind of diversifies different aspects or facets of what you're looking for as well.
And if you're watching and you're a subnetwork yourself, or there are specific subnetworks that you really like working with that you'd recommend to the others that are watching, feel free to drop those in the comments. It'd be interesting to see who everyone is working with. Now let's look at the opposite side of it, because we did talk about how we were going to talk about some of the difficult conversations here today as well. So what are some of the biggest obstacles that you're running into when working with these subnetworks?
It feels like there's a new one popping up every day. And a lot of them call themselves content or influencer networks. And then you look and it's a lot of coupon sites, which if you work with coupon sites, that's great. But if you're approving them into your program because you want to work with influencers or content sites, that is a big issue. And also, transparency has become, I think, super important I know for most of our clients, they really, need to know who is driving these sales to me. I need to, like what type of branding am I being associated with is extremely important for clients. Making sure that it is aligned, making sure they know, let me see the content. What is it? Is it a coupon site? And I say I don't work with them. Is it someone doing trade marketing potentially? We've seen all of those things from some of the less the ones who aren't following the rules as well. So it's definitely something. It's I always say, like, proceed with caution with the new one. And make sure you look for those signs, like if sales spike all of a sudden, that's definitely a big red flag. If they are telling you traffic is coming from this sub affiliate and you look at that and it's the sniff test, but it's also, you can look and say, like, okay, they say it says influencer on social media, but they have 500 followers, or it's not. I can't see any posts that seem to be aligned with the brand. So that's why I think, especially for the newer ones you're working with, transparency is something I would definitely require. But I would love for it to be at a point where everyone gets transparency. I know there's concerns about taking relationships direct, but I think most advertisers don't want to do that because they also agree with the advantages of working with a sub affiliate network, if it's easier to manage multiple relationships. But I do think that is something we always, like we always say, proceed with caution, develop that relationship, have those conversations, and to make sure that you're working with the good players.
Teresa, if I could add to that on the transparency level, AvantLink as a network, we are beginning to get more aggressive with these sub networks that don't provide us their sub IDs. So we do have a capability to report on all of the sub partners within networks in our AvantLink reporting. And our compliance team, if we work with the sub network who either is unwilling or unable, we're beginning to take a more aggressive approach, because I think it is an industry-wide concern now, and request for this transparency. So I think that's a top concern.
Yeah, and I think it's great to hear the steps, let's say, from a network side of things, what they're doing, because we have a very similar stance as well, and really, especially coming, let's say, from pub dev side. Our main requirement when we're talking with these, new sub networks or hearing what they're doing, and it's also the new influencer networks as well. We're talking about just this whole umbrella. The lack of visibility is concerning, and being able to pass back sub IDs is probably one of the most important first steps to understand where something's coming from. There's also, certain networks have their referring URL or even more detailed, URL reporting that I would say is, important to understand where to go to find those. And also another, little tip, I guess, more from even the subnetwork side of things is, there's a certain part and level of providing extra transparency. I've seen some that, try and provide, screenshots or extra kind of reporting in addition. But if that's the only reporting, that's a negative, because a screenshot, or again, showing one influencer or content creator claiming to do a certain amount of revenue, we always try and piece together, the puzzle pieces. And if something doesn't align or add up, it causes concern. And, there is a lot of digging and done in the background, but I think it's important to understand that, it sometimes the case is easier to remove a partner if there are big traffic spikes or you're not understanding where something's coming from, because it's always going to revert back to my brand wants brand safety, and we need to know where something is promoted, when and where, for example. And just like Teresa said, it's not that we want to take partnerships direct. There aren't capabilities for the volume for some of this. So it's more of showing the brand, and the brand being able to see all of the good stuff. We want to showcase our sub networks, but when there is the lack of transparency or not understanding or coupon maybe coming in when you're really working on an influencer campaign or very specific content or content only. That's where there's a lot of concerns. And then again, just all of them popping up now. And it really, it's hard to pick through the weeds at times. And sometimes the time is not worth the effort. And I think that's important for the partners and publishers, whoever's listening now, to hear as well, because it's not easy. Let's say it's not your easy way into a program. It sometimes will make it a negative. So I just wanted to kind of call that out from my
And the
side as
good
well.
ones will, like, if you say, you know,
Oh, yeah.
remove this one, they will do it immediately. They will follow the guardrails that you set for them of what types to work with. They will provide that. So there are good ones. It's just, there's also some ones you have to be careful of. So like with
Exactly.
everything, I feel like.
So we kind of touched on kind of some bad eggs. Let's go a little further with that. Interestingly, across I think 3 different councils in the last month, conversations came up about fraudulent applications coming through the networks. And it seems to be something that I'm hearing from a lot of different affiliate managers in different ways. And I don't know if it's peaking, if it's just that everybody's talking about it more openly or what, but let's talk a little bit about fraudulent applications. What kinds of things are you seeing that affiliate managers need to be looking out for?
I think this is one of the downsides of AI is there's a lot of AI generated websites who they're like content and they, you know, put up a bunch of AI stuff that takes 5 minutes to put together in a very templated um, looking website, and they are applying to these programs, and there are a lot of them. So definitely, I think that that is one that we have seen a lot. We also see people apply and then the link is broken, so it goes nowhere. So that's something else that has kind of become an issue. You do see, you know, people claiming to be a big website. We saw an application come through for a few of our programs recently saying they were like Cup of Joe, who has like, you know, if if that website was really applying, we would have been thrilled. But you look immediately at the name of the person and the email and everything, and it's not, you know, it's clearly not them. So just claiming, you know, like you can say your name is this, say the website, but then it's, you know, definitely not. So that's another issue that we've seen. And then a lot of, you know, like people know that content sites are extremely important to affiliate programs right now. So, and you know, when you can self-classify yourself just saying your content, but you're obviously not content site. So not, you know, like, so just classifying yourself the wrong way. That's some of the things we look out for as we dig through these applications.
Anything else either of you have seen or on the lookout for?
I can chime in before maybe Vanessa, and I think Vanessa will have a really interesting stance coming from the network, but I think it's a lot of the also, yeah, mimicking or pretending to be other sites that are already existing. I think understanding and, you know, making sure if you're an account manager, you know, the partners that are in your program. And if you do see almost like a duplicate or something, to be able to flag that, or, you know, reach out to your network. I think that's where Vanessa will be able to chime in really well. But you know, emails, making sure the emails are in place, or if you see a site that might be a parent company to something else or vice versa, you know, reach out to your contacts that are already in your program. Hey, I see this site. Do you guys have a new network ID, or is this not you? You know, I think understanding that we're building relationships in this industry and you can utilize them, and you shouldn't be afraid to ask it all, especially if something looks like it could be, or maybe it's not. So I think that's really important as well, in understanding that. But I think a big thing is, you know, the duplications, check those emails, the origin countries, or country of, yeah, the origin country, or whatever that statement is in the network. Like really vetting the application in the network, not just the, oh, website, I see the website and it's fine. There's a lot of other segments there to kind of go through to see, is this pretending to be an already existing affiliate or not, I think is important.
I think
And
that
Vanessa, you're on that other side of it, that a lot of what I'm hearing from affiliate managers is we want the networks to do more. We want the networks to help us with this. So like in a perfect world, what can the networks do?
that's exactly what I was going to say. And, you know, as we're coming into this conversation about, yes, these are what account managers are looking out for: broken links, AI generated, profiles, websites. And I really think the brands should push back on the networks and their compliance departments and really know their compliance steps. Ask your network what their overall affiliate approval process is. When you are looking at an application coming into your program, you should feel secure that it already went through a rigorous compliance process, that is already looking for broken links, that is already making sure, that they have corresponding social media sites. What classifications or characteristics of a site does your network compliance team deny? What are the steps also that your network's compliance team will take if an affiliate comes through, is approved in the network, and then is acting against either your brand's terms and conditions or the network's terms and conditions? And I think we might forget that a lot, that networks do have compliance teams, and ask them what their process is. By the time an affiliate application comes on your desk, you should feel secure that they already went through everything that Teresa said she checks off. That should have already been done, honestly.
And I think it's unfortunate that, we're having these conversations when what you're saying, Vanessa, is that it should be the case. And a lot of times approvals are something that, you have to spend time on because you don't have that same security that you're saying. There's a lot of stuff that, whether it gets through the cracks or not. And, it is something, to think about, really, or really be able to, talk with your network of, that your brand is performing on, but make sure that you have those discussions, because just to reject an application, of course, then you're going to reject it, but you should report it, because you don't want this to continue, or you don't want the cycle to continue. I think, as compliance teams are elaborating from the network side, we can also help that by, reporting or indicating or talking with them to really see, okay, why did this get in? Was it because it was AI generated and it wasn't flagged? Or, what are those methods? I think all of us to kind of learn from each other as well in this time where there's so much content being created or fake sites being created. It's something that I think we do need to work together in a way as well, because it's new to all of us.
Yeah. And if, Nikki said, there are some getting through on, the various networks. There are tools to help you vet them too. There's the SimilarWeb or SEMrush. Look at the traffic.
Mhm.
Most of these, it's usually pretty obvious to tell if it's AI, but if you're questioning it, that's another good step to take, is to just kind of run it through and see how much traffic they're actually generating. And if it's a super small amount, it's not worth it. It's probably not good. There's also the AI tools to see what percentage of content is AI generated, like Grammarly, Phrasely, things like that. That's another way. If you're, on the questioning it, you're not quite sure. That's a great way to kind of do another test to make sure that you're only getting the good quality ones in there.
We've got some interesting comments coming in. I think one from my good friend Mike Allen out there, a longtime PMA member, supporter, past president, saying he wishes all networks made it easy to report fraudulent publishers. And I guess that's it. Like, in a perfect world, those of you, the panelists that we have here, those of you who are watching on LinkedIn, like, in a perfect world, what does this look like? What does it look like in terms of what the networks are already weeding out? How much fraud that this should even be getting to you as an affiliate manager, or should like 99% of it not even get to you because the network has managed to weed it out? What responsibility does the network have versus what do you as the affiliate manager have in this whole process?
I think from the network perspective, we take a pretty aggressive approach. I think our updated stats are, we deny close to 70% of affiliate applications that come in. We really are only bringing in 30%. Our compliance team takes a look at every single application that comes through. Like, an actual human being is looking back there and checking off. So AvantLink takes a really aggressive approach around affiliate applications.
I think that should be the standard. And you almost wish, you know, Tricia, you mentioned in a perfect world, it would almost be like, you know, on like social media platforms where it's very easy to block or report, you know, someone that's spam or doing suspicious behavior or trying to, you know, follow you if you have a private account, like, you know, in a perfect world, you feel it should be easy, right? Along with that application section that's coming in there almost should be something to say report or send back to the network, or, you know, this for these reasons, this XYZ, these reasons. At least that's what I had always wished for at the time, because you really sometimes wonder how it could get there, or deduping. And, you know, I don't know, Vanessa, if you guys have something like this, or again, you're saying at least there's a human behind every application. You'd almost think that you can't apply as a new publisher if a website's already existing and tied to a publisher. That one always confused me, where it's like, why is another mass media site like a Hearst property being shown here when they're already, or you know what I mean? Like, that's the one for me. I always wondered, like, how, you know, just like you can't register to a site if an email's already used, right? Like almost
Yep.
something like that.
That's
And I know that's why they
totally
change emails, but you know.
yeah, that's definitely a conversation that we're having internally about either blocking, you know, a secondary if that email is used again. But there are circumstances where the same
Yeah.
email could be used. So that's a fine line to walk. But that's funny that you say that, because that is a timely conversation that's happening in AvantLink. But I will
And
say
maybe
aspect of it, you know, when we're looking at red flags and communicating with your network's compliance team, is also understanding nothing's perfect in this world, right? There are going to be some that slip through. So if one slips through, what is your network's process to mitigate any damage? Right? Is it going to be easy to reverse those sales? What is your compliance team and your network going to do if we do catch a bad actor? So that's another thing to keep in mind, that, you know, we can do as much as we can, you as the account managers, the network, to try and prohibit these kind of actors. But if they do slip through, having a game plan and understanding what your network would do if something bad happens.
That's a really good, that's a really good point. I know that, you know, there's always, you know, someone that could be malicious. It's not nice to think that we always have to think on the negative side, but, you know, there's even established partners within the industry that you're going to see some bad actors try and come through, whether they're trying to spoof their own links to get, you know, extra rewards. And just like Vanessa said, you have to have a game plan and know what your network does for reversing orders. Talk with the publisher too, especially almost the flip side. If this isn't an application, if this is an existing partner of yours, go to your contact, because also a lot of established affiliate partners will have their own compliance team similar to the network. So make sure you talk with them too and say, look, this bunch we're seeing come from this IP address, or this is flagged, or these crazy high orders, we're going to reverse them. Can you dig in? And they'll usually take out the bad actors too. You know, we've seen it happen. So I think it's understanding, it's not just with new applications, it can definitely happen, but also, you know, as you're reviewing your existing partners, always talk with them, because every company will have a compliance team too of some sort, and know that they're there to also, you know, keep the rules under wraps.
exactly. Well, this has definitely been the negative part of the conversation. And now I would like to move to the positive part. They don't call me Sunshine Tricia for nothing. Let's talk about some good stuff going on in the industry. Let's talk about the hidden gem publishers. Some of you are really good at being able to find these publishers that aren't, you know, the ones that everybody's talking about. How are you finding this? Where some secrets are coming into play here. How are you finding these hidden gem publishers given the deluge of applications that you receive as affiliate managers?
I think a lot of finding the hidden gems you have to be proactive about. You do get some that come through the applications, and that's great. I think most of the time when we find them, it's through either, you know, like you can use the network tool, but just like being smart about looking out there and seeing, you know, who makes sense. You know, the obvious way is looking at, like, if it's a niche, looking for sites related to that niche. For example, golf, look for golf. But Also, another way to look at it is make sure you understand, and the client should know this, and if not, help them understand this. Who are their customers and where are they going? Because that's such an important part of it. And that's such a great way to reach out to broaden, the opportunities for them. So look, like, okay, they are this age group, there are other activities that they like besides golf, or this and this, and this, they make this much a year. So you can really you might even be able to know like what publications they are reading. Like some clients have that data and they really know it that well. So I would say don't just narrow it to the niches, like look at where they are. And that's an extremely important part. Another thing, which is crazy, but there are a lot of, if you look through influencers, there's a lot of people just promoting the products already because they love them. So look for that. Let's look for hashtags and then reach out and try to develop a relationship with them too. So I think that's another really good way to start that relationship and really build up true brand ambassadors, not just someone looking to make money, but these people absolutely have that authentic voice already and believe in the product. And there's, a lot of the networks do have those express signups to expedite that application process. So make sure that you have that set up if you are with one to do that. Where you can
What does that mean?
You can provide them a special link to apply to your program, and it will get them ahead in the queue for approval. So it doesn't take weeks or months or however long it might take. And it also, in some cases, it will automatically approve because it's coming from a trusted partner. So there are, I think that those are some of the things that we have found. But I do think the proactiveness is such an important part of it. Is like you can't just sit and wait for you can't just have it be through the applications.
Mm-hmm.
You, as the person managing the affiliate account, have to be out there looking all the time for new partners. So
Others, any secret sauce tips, as Jason just said in the comments?
Secret. I think you could definitely test some other consolidating tools. There's quite a few out there that compile from affiliate links, or being able to do like keyword searches, not just from the likes of SimilarWeb or a SEMrush or whatever the case may be, but there's other specific affiliate geared type of tools, I guess, is one. I also think understanding competitors and then doing those same kind of searches to your brand's competitors. Understanding the networks do have some really great discovery tools in addition to other tools, for example. So definitely utilize your network of choice as well. They usually have a lot of keyword discoveries in their discovery platform, or even some demographics, so age, whatever the case may be. So there's, I think, a plethora understanding that, and certain tools will have be able to indicate if you're looking for affiliate links to kind of narrow your search, or if you are looking for non-affiliate links and really trying to do the full new discovery. I personally, like, I again, and I'm taking a stance a little bit separate from full account management now, again, from pub dev. We do like to utilize our networks, of course, because one thing that's the easiest when it comes to at least scaling from my side is I want to know that they're a partner, and if they're not, I'll of course help get them introduced to the networks, get them signed up. But at least from our side, if there is an established partner that just hasn't really gotten the exposure, utilizing the networks, I think, is a really big thing. Your program is obviously housed on a network of choice, so definitely take advantage of who's in there, and who might not be performing for your brand, for example. I think that's huge, as just the an easy way to really kind of validate what you could bring into the program. So that's kind of one of my
and I think
tips.
a lot of the tools have really gotten smarter and smarter through the years, and can say, like, for category, which is super helpful, like the benchmarking type of things, but also, like, not even just using the tools, like reaching out to the networks and say, hey, can you, can you provide me some top risers? Some of them provide it proactively already, but they also have that insight. I'm like, oh, here's some great new publishers that are especially working well in your category. So definitely use that. I think, like as far as a specific tool, we use SEMrush backlink reports for like competitors. So definitely, like Nikki said, you can see like if they're using affiliate links on there, or just in general, who's writing about those topics then as well. Because again, it's like there's the obvious ones, and definitely like those are potential, but like if you sometimes it is surprising on like who's writing about a certain topic. It's definitely not who you would necessarily think. And you can Google, but Google's so like different these days now too, so it's harder to
Yeah.
find those types of articles. You can find the Reddit forums about them, but or AI answers, but to find the articles. So like it is, I think investing in other tools to help you find has become more important, and like looking to see who is writing about this topic or who's writing about the competitors is super helpful too.
I think the objective, or like the very objective sites like SimilarWeb or SEMrush that do provide those, because you're really able to see kind of those backlinks or which websites linking here, which sites are linking to my competitor or not myself. So I think utilizing those on a different standpoint are very helpful to get a very objective view, separate from I'm just doing my Google searches and my Google search results, for example, as well. But yeah, my tip is networks, and then probably those other tools, whichever your agency, company, et cetera, utilizes, definitely take advantage of them. That's why, they're part of your agency's resources or your own resources, for example. Vanessa, I didn't mean if I almost cut you off or not. So
That's okay. One thing I'll also add is I completely agree and everything that you all are saying, but also to take a look at, so when you do identify those strategic keywords through whatever software you use, whether it's SEMrush or whatever, also plug those keywords into the social media sites. Just generally search for them in Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever social media. And I think you'd be surprised how many partners are already either maybe talking about your brand already that are not partnered with, or just talking about the general, the general key terms. I think is also something to add in as you're organically looking for partners.
That's good. Question from Morgan. They had some good answers there for you. Are any of you using like Chat GPT yet on the affiliate manager side to look for these kind of things? And I asked because as a publisher, I'm starting to look myself for what I'm coming up for and asking it questions to see if it's giving me my site as a source for these answers. So are you using it yet to see if you can find publishers in there?
We've definitely uploaded affiliate lists for a program into there and explain, you have to be it's just like with everything else, give it a ton of background information and about, so what's hard is like, there's so many nuances for our program. And so, like each one, it's like, oh, but they can't work with this type, or they already have this as a different type of, so the lists I haven't found like hidden gems through it yet, but I am impressed with like what it comes back in general. Like they are affiliate sites, and, you can say, and they're linking, who are linking to like these competitors too.
It was interesting to me that it
Yeah.
did tell me that my sites were affiliate sites when I
Yeah,
asked about them. It did
definitely.
specifically say these are
Definitely
affiliate
know
sites.
that.
And
But yeah, I haven't found like a big like hidden gem, but I feel like that will improve. So that is a great way to do it. Like as far as like, yeah. And
we need
again,
to find like what that exact query is. Like, what's that query that you put in there that says, I'm
yeah,
looking for the perfect site to promote this product that's already using affiliate
yeah,
links, and like, what is that
you
exact phrase? And
you
then
need to
share
map
it.
the phrase.
yeah,
Whoever
definitely.
comes up with
Exactly.
that, let everybody else in the group know, because that would be super helpful.
Or if someone learns it, then we're gonna find out from the results. Yeah, it's I'd say it's definitely something to look into. I just always feel like I'm apprehensive on certain AI only because of how it compiles. So like I still like to almost double check or double vet, or even when it gives me a response, I like to check. Like I find it's, and I think most people would agree, but I find don't like just blindly accept what Chat GPT gives on really anything like in life. But I feel like just do your extra little bit of time to kind of research or make sure, okay, is this site actually having affiliate links? Like Tricia, you knew it gave your site said it, but you also know that you do affiliate links, or you did that extra kind of like pulse check to make sure. But it is an interesting avenue to start taking, and know that the different softwares have different AI as well. So Google's going to have something
Right.
different than Microsoft, for example, or ChatGPT is going to be sitting different than the Microsoft one or something. So it could be interesting to test if you have a few of the different platforms, or whatever Apple, whatever Siri or whatever is going to give you, and then what Gemini is going to give you, and then Copilot and stuff. So it could be interesting to kind of dig, or it might be good to use more for like keyword searches. I feel more generalized to help you kind of get maybe inspiration or creativity on that side a little more.
So this kind of coming personally, how do publishers stand out to you? You're getting all these applications, you're looking for some yourself, you're having them all come in to you. How does a publisher stand out for you?
I can kick that one off because I think this one probably touches home a little bit close for me, especially with my day to day. But I would say if there's any publishers listening, again, I didn't see, everybody who's in the chat at the moment, but to any publishers listening, I'd say one of our biggest things is being open and receiving communications and having that line of communication and really showcasing what you do, what makes you different, how you're going to promote a brand. Get that media kit out there. If you don't have a media kit, I don't like to say it's a red flag, but I just feel like that having a one sheeter or something to showcase your site, websites,
And the PMA
etc.
has a free media kit guide. If any of you don't have a media
Oh,
kit, like Nikki says, go to the PMA website and there's a download, like a template that you can use. So
exactly, something. And it really just shows that extra validity, right? And then if you have case studies or certain verticals do really well, highlight that, because, coming from at least my side, I like to know all of that information, right? I'm going to ask you what verticals are performing really, really well. What promotional methods are you utilizing? What's your transparency like, depending again on partners? So I would say those are my biggest things. And then, responding to those emails, making yourself available. If you hide behind something or aren't available for those things, all it does is it's not helping push that relationship forward and will cause a barrier. So I'd say that those are my biggest tips, coming from, someone from pub dev to my fellow publishers. That would be the most important, to kind of get through that first. It's our barriers and our security, right? All we're doing is trying to do the best for our clients and provide the best quality. So, reciprocal nature there.
I would totally agree with all of that, Nikki. I also would say, like, if you do get denied, you can like
Yeah.
reach out and just be like, why was I? Because not many do. And so if you do that, that shows, okay, this is someone that at least is invested. It still might not be a good match, but that's it. I will look at it another time, or, like, it's worth bringing. So definitely do that. If it's someone you really think is a good fit. Also, I mean, there are so many networking events available all over the country. And that's honestly, like, going to, like, my team, when we go to conferences, that is such a like goal, is to like, okay, find and meet two different publishers that you have never heard of before or talked to and that we can work with. So we, like, that is extremely important for us. And that's a big reason why we go to these. So I think that is something to not, like, don't underestimate the value of attending those types of events. And it can be, like, the meetings, or it could just be like going to the PMA happy hours or brunches. I mean, those are fantastic opportunities. But there's like, there's just so many all over the country. So there should be something that's at least close to you at some point during the year, but look out for those. Look, like, there's, like, the different Slack channels too, where publishers can, talk about and get help. So I think just make sure you're putting yourself out there too, and being where affiliate managers are. And like, we are everywhere. So there's no shortage of opportunities.
And it shows your validity in some way too, right? Like if you are serious and you're a new publisher and you're really serious about getting into the affiliate space, or you're expanding from Europe to the US and you really want to get exposure to the US market, these networking events, these conferences, showcasing that you're going there, showing that you're a legitimate partner, is really, really valuable. Teresa, you're extremely right. Like, that's what some of us do at conferences, is we look, that all we do is talk with publishers, or, we're trying to find those. And a lot of conferences will have, different spotlights to highlight new partners, or take regional conferences. For example, I'm up in Canada and we have Dealmaker Canada that, a lot of, that's the time for Canadian publisher. If you really want to get exposure. So there's a lot of different nuances to really be able to highlight, like, look, I'm serious, and do your research on affiliate marketing. Understand when you're going to use affiliate links, how to deep link, understand how you're going to promote, or which promotional methods are most advantageous. Sometimes it is the content. Content is still what a lot of our clients strive for, but if you have some really cool newsletter opportunities, or if you are going to do display on your site, how, again, a lot of times it's under a brand really needs to understand the how behind what you're doing, as well.
And we have a great comment from PMA board member extraordinaire Janine about PMA virtual events. You don't have the cash, you don't have the time, whatever it is, virtual events too. Things like this, participating in the comments section of this webinar today, attending our online happy hours, joining councils, like these small group opportunities where you can really chat, with people. I think it's what built my business. I wouldn't have been a full-time affiliate if it had not been for those conversations, like going to conferences, meeting one-on-one with affiliate managers, who then kind of gave me that little push to be like, oh yeah, we can teach you this, we can show you this, yeah, we'll put you in this program, it will be good for you. And I wouldn't be here 20 years later if it had not been for that. So now I'm going to ask you the big secret, and I've teased it to the people that are watching us on LinkedIn. Are you willing to share a little bit of your secrets with us in terms of the new kind of up and coming publisher types, or maybe even some specific publishers? We all know kind of the big names. We all know the big types of publishers. Can you dish a little on some of the new and upcoming stuff that you're doing with publishers, what you're looking for, who you're working with?
Yeah, I can take that one. I think from the network perspective, what I'm seeing, I don't really think they're underrepresented, but they're definitely underutilized, is technology partners. And these technology partners really go beyond the cut and dry of sale conversions, right? They provide innovative marketing solutions for problems that a brand might not even know you have. Like, I love getting on the phone with these technology partners and understanding what they provide, or what their value add is, because it's always so different. And it always makes me think about affiliate in such a different way. And there's so many, general opportunities that they bring. They can, decrease your shopping cart abandonment, recapture consumers when they're about to leave your site. Some technology partners can offer hyper personalized product recommendations to a prospective shopper when they're ready to buy. Like, it's amazing. AI visual search capabilities, making the shopping journey even easier for a prospective shopper. And a lot of times these partnerships can operate on a performance basis. So you're really getting these entrepreneurial brains, these companies that are really thinking outside the box. Bring them into your company, and they could really provide huge lifts. So I think that's really a hidden gem for me, is not only taking those into consideration, taking their call, just understanding what they do. I think is a big miss for a lot of brands.
Yeah, and I guess some names there for to call out a few when it comes to that is, there's your cart abandonment, like a lot of these partners that are mentioning, there's Upsell It, there's Intently, you want product bundling of some sort, there's Increasingly, you want assistance on your chat bubbles on your website, there's Involve, there's some really fantastic partners out there that are definitely, in my opinion, underutilized, and they're more than just widgets. If your clients say, or you're an advertiser that you say, well, I have a widget on my site, they're beyond that, because they work to really evolve strategies beyond, I just put something on here to collect an email address. They're super, super strategic. So I'm also, a big advocate, because I think there's so much that can be done on a strategic level, and you're paying on that performance. I also have a few more on the generalized topics. Again, afterwards, you can, reach out for any names just as I kind of talk through. And if most people know me, I get in just the Rolodex kind of brain here. But, there's a lot that are starting to do stuff with AI, whether it's like AI shopping assistants, AI, recommendations that come into play. That's really obviously popping up. Again, be aware on the flip side, like we spoke about. But again, there's some really unique, almost like a texting shopping assistants that use AI, or, more in terms of like that apparel side that can be really interesting. There's obviously your CTV, or a few that are coming into the space that are doing like embedded shopping. So we're probably going to see in the near future some of our streaming services showcase, the outfits that are being worn, or the handbags, or soon maybe even the background, the chair or the couch being featured. So all of this, there's certain companies trying to push that through affiliate, which is so fascinating to think about, that, we'll be able to have easy access to easily take a picture or to click on the stream to see what's shoppable. So that's so fascinating. And then your regular CTV, right? There's some established partner in the space that does, CTV, but there's also others coming in with like video retargeting. So instead of just display, really tapping into the inventory of YouTube, Instagram, like Meta. So that's really interesting. The influencer networks as well, but some that are really building up from their link generators. So sites that used to do like the link in bios, for example, they're starting to get into affiliate. So there's some sites there that are just fantastic, that have millions of content creators and influencers using those links already, and now they're going to become affiliate links. So that's going to expand. And then probably my last two interesting topics, and again, apologies that I'm not just spewing out names here, is CSS partners are something interesting. It's far bigger, I think, in Europe, because they have access to Google's inventory for like shopping PLA, but there are some that do Bing within the US, so the North American market, that is really interesting if you want to diversify from, oh, I'm sorry if I'm echoing at all. But if you want to diversify to another promotional method that's on affiliate, and then also there are some partners that do whitelisting. So being able to tap into budgets that maybe you don't have for Meta, and that they're able to kind of utilize with your brand whitelisting. So there's, of course, content's king. All our brands want content. There's a lot of different ways that you can diversify your program and utilize the affiliate channel and or the performance marketing channel in really unique ways that can help your budgets, and be able to really showcase the fluidity of our channel that I wanted to highlight quickly. So
Love it. It's very comprehensive, Nikki. And I think I'm just going to say, I'll add to that, is just be open-minded. A lot of these aren't like what you think of for like traditional affiliate, and that's fine. Like affiliate doesn't, it's like affiliate is so much more, like, and it can be these type of things. And why not? It's such a great way to test things out too. Such a great model. And sometimes you might have to add a pixel to your site or something, but don't let that be the obstacle, because that usually means they can do some really cool, like, lookalike audience retargeting, or like things like that. Like that's where you can get some super cool targeting, get the new customers that everyone wants, like really show top of funnel. So keep an open mind, have those, like have those discussions, because I think there's some really cool opportunities that are out there.
oh yeah,
But
oh yeah,
but a
or
lot of times
even
it does take, it's not just like, oh, look at the application, or like you do have to have a discussion, because there's so many capabilities, you have to explain what they're doing. So take the time to do it, though. It's worth it.
Yeah, and even like offer walls have become, like, there's some fantastic, had a call with just the plethora and the opportunity for, certain types of programs, or just the reach that you can really provide on a performance model with not really too much risk is just crazy. So I definitely recommend having an open mind to really build your program out.
And it's really interesting to hear you all saying these things, because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about the PMA industry study that's going to be coming out soon, and that I've kind of gotten a peek at the numbers. And we're seeing in those numbers exactly what you all are saying. Some of these different types of publishers that we're going to see a lot of growth reported in, new types of publishers that we didn't even have 3 years ago when we did the last survey. Like, the data is bearing out a lot of the stuff that you're saying right now. So I want to get to one last topic real quick before we're done, and that is the topic of engagement with affiliates. So you have them all applying, you found them, they found you, whatever. What are you doing to initially get their hook in, get them engaged into the program, but then also maintaining that program long term? Maybe start with that kind of initial, what are you doing?
And looking at the time, I'll make this, a little shorter than I originally had outlined. But I think that initially you just want to start the partnership off on the right foot. And sometimes I think when you're sending recruitment offers or accepting through the networks, it kind of gets so impersonal a little. So once that connection is made, once that official connection is made, a secondary warm welcome goes a long way. Like a welcome kit that includes hand feeding them exactly what you want them to promote, giving them more information about your brand, which again, they could find on their own. But when you package it and it is delivered in a more personal way, I think it really goes a long way. And I think there was a webinar a few years ago that I was a part of, where we were talking about treating your publisher partners like your best customers. When you get into that mindset, like how are you treating your best customers? Pick that up and apply that to your affiliate partners. And then all of a sudden, all of these ideas come to fruition, right? All of these ideas come to play.
What about the long term? You got them in now. How do you keep them interested? How do you keep them promoting you time after time? Besides just commissions, obviously.
Very important. I mean, the regular communication. So like, don't stop at that. And especially, like if you see someone that you really think is a great fit, like like proactively set up those calls as well, and discuss the ways to optimize. And because it's always interesting, like I find that, the publishers know their audience, just like our advertisers should know their audience. So do the publishers, and they can say, this is what resonates with my audience. These are the type of things they like, and they know. So this, like take those recommendations and like sometimes you can offer and say like, oh, would you like, like a deal? And they can say, no, we'd rather have an exclusive product or some, like whatever it might be. But it's everyone is different. And so it's super important to keep those conversations open and look for ways, like it is a relationship. So have those individual discussions. Um, and like offer incentives here and there. Like if like you feel like someone's under utilizing, you can set goals for them and help, like you could do a campaign for certain ones that aren't. So make sure like, like give them incentives as well to earn and opportunities to earn more, but also not just incentives, but then also like help them to get those incentives. So like also we will provide for you, like exclusive access to these products during this time, or a deal, or like or whatever it might be. So I think that those are some of the things of like it, like just remember to just talk to them and have that one-on-one discussion.
Yeah, and I'll try my if anybody knows me, it's always the relationships and personability. And I think I can, I'll say it time and time again because it is so important, and very similar to what Vanessa said on the beginning, to be personal and give things. I also think that's part of the long term as well, is continue to be personal. Send over your client's promotional calendar, right? Or if there's big sales of the year, that Q1 is the biggest time of the year for your client, or the summertime, prep for that and have those conversations and know what you can offer, or don't be limited by certain aspects too, right? If your brand isn't very promotional, but they have those certain times of the year that they have sales, or they don't do one-off codes because they're afraid of, code leakage there, but they can do one-time codes. Talk with publishers. A lot of times publishers are very willing to work under the parameters of partners, so don't be afraid to say, look, we could provide you batch one-time codes because we are willing to test this opportunity, or we can't direct to the site, but we can offer something on a specific landing page dedicated. So that there are so many nuances, but I would say build that relationship and foster it, because that's what our publishers want too. I hear it all the time from their side, is they want to build long-term partnerships. They don't just want the one-off. So have that mentality going into it, as I'm building something long-term for my client, and this is how we can help, and go from there. But I do think that's so important.
Well, you all have done fantastic. Look at us. We have like 60 seconds left. So
Woohoo.
thank you all to the panelists. Thank you to Vanessa and Nikki and Teresa for putting together all this terrific content, sharing all this information. All of the people who watched us on LinkedIn today, there are a lot of really great comments, some questions out there. I'm going to ask the panelists if they could jump over to LinkedIn at some point later this afternoon and maybe answer some of the questions that we didn't get a chance to answer. And if anybody wants to network with our panelists, you will also be able to do that through LinkedIn as well. So thank you so much. Thank you to the PMA and all of our sponsors for making this happen.
Thank you
Thank
to the
you.
PMA. Thank you everyone for watching.